Hi, it's Kieran here and welcome to another GT Sport video, and yeah, this is the FIA Nations Cup, an epic race for you, pretty good grid, almost 200 points on offer here, so let's see what we can do. Starting at the back of the grid though, because during qualifying for this race I was actually uploading my qualifying tips video to YouTube, so I hope the irony isn't lost on you there, but we're going to do a going from the back and see where we finish video, and like I said, epic battles here, dicey with Italians, dicey with Spaniards, got to get past all of these cars. Because we're coming from the back of the grid. And if you do like these videos, please feel free to subscribe or ask any questions you have in the comments. Always really happy to answer them. We go through here into turn 1. Anything can happen, and it normally does. Are we going to pick up a couple of places? Yep, it looks like it. A few cars go to there. The Bolog goes absolutely flying. And we end up in 18th place. So only picking up 2 positions. A little bit disappointing actually. But we'll see what happens at the second chicane. Quite like the livery on this car ahead. This white, black and red livery reminds me of Scarface, but he's got a 4-second penalty, so we can either follow him through or kind of go for the throat. So let's see what we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to go for the throat, take an easy position past the Lamborghini Huracan there, and see what happens ahead of us as the cars are fighting. Can we get away through? And yeah, because that car kind of punted the other one out of the way, almost like American football there, blocker or whatever it is. And we leave these cars behind us with loads of penalties, so we can concentrate on getting some more positions as the Italian hits the wall. So he's going to be easy pickings coming out of the second Lesmo, and there's someone else serving a penalty ahead. So going to be all about the exit here, getting on the power early, getting past this Italian and trying to catch up with that Romanian who's serving the penalty, picking up more positions. I really like Monza, I really like the Lamborghini Huracan, very stable car, so it's a good combination for me. Really good opportunity to pick up Nations points, and I'm bouncing around 40k DR at the moment, so in this A lobby, first place picking I think just shy of 200 points. So we've got to avoid a car there, and another one, cars on every corner, every part of Ascari, and a French driver weaving across the track, and we're going to avoid him as well, just about. Oh my gosh, that was close. Let's have a look at that in an instant replay as we see him just swerve across the track and we just avoid him. Fair play to the Frenchman getting back on track and avoiding anyone. Are we going to go on the inside of the Italian here? No, and we don't really need to either, because it's going to be such a slipstream down this home straight. I would rather kind of hang back a bit and just let the chaos unfold. So we've gone from 20th to 11th on the first lap. Can we take a similar number of positions on lap 2? Pretty strong combination for me, so I need to make the most of it. See us here flying down the straight, fleet of Hurricanes going down to turn 1. What's going to happen? Surely someone's going to get punched off in the gravel. Italian goes defensive. We're going to do our normal line, taking it very easily. We end up touching the Russian slightly and again, but now I'm done. There's 3 cars, and the French driver just looks like he's driving back to the pits there. Wheel on the grass as we get past the other Frenchman. The Russian ahead of us got a penalty, so we're in 8th place, up from 20th. Absolutely flying in this FIA Nations race, and just start at the back is my new advice. Forget qualifying, start at the back, start on the hard tyre. Well, let's see what we can do here. Coming into the second chicane, a couple of people going side by side, never a good idea really. And the Spaniard loses out there, the green Lamborghini goes wide. There's going to be absolute chaos behind us, yeah. And we're going to be catching up with a new cars. Our Spaniard is getting absolutely punted left, right and centre there, pushed off. Someone ahead of us is serving a penalty. 2 cars it looks like serving a penalty. So, oh my word, up from 20th to 6th in the space of 2 laps, and the 2 cars ahead of us are serving a penalty. Now, we didn't get the best exit from the second Lesmo there, and I think that's going to cost us slightly. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get past these drivers. It would have been absolutely fantastic momentum if we could have. We're going to try and stick on the inside. No, better to take it easy, just brake a little bit earlier and try and get a good exit out of Ascari, so they run up to Parabolica. We can have another go. The Belgian driver ahead has picked up a penalty. Lots of drivers picking up penalties, just cutting the corner slightly. And we've got a Frenchman behind us now for company as well. He's joined up with us, so we're going to go down as a 4, looking like a wing of F22 Raptors here, heading into Parabolica. The 2 ahead going side by side. I'm going to take a little bit easy, because to be honest, I want to keep the pack ahead together going into turn 1. Because if they're going to fight into turn 1, I'll pick up the pieces like I've done on the previous laps. And that strategy seems to be working quite well for me so far. I'm also on the hard tyre. I suspect some cars around me are on mediums, so it's not a bad idea for them to be fighting while they're on the faster tyre and I'm on the slow one. Right, we're going to barrel down into turn 1 now. Perhaps someone's going to make a crazy move. It's not going to be me, because I'm going to brake a little bit early. The Frenchman might go around the outside here. Yep, he brakes a little bit late, very screwly on the brakes as they feed through turn 1, and I just follow them through here. Nice and simple. Got a German behind and a few more drivers, but look at the chaos in the pack behind. You absolutely do not want to be in that group of cars there. You'll just be losing time, hand over fist. Right, are we going to make a move on the Frenchman going into the second chicane? One of my favourite places to overtake, just generally. I really like it here if you get a nice clean move on the inside. I'm quite a way behind, but I fancy myself on the brakes, even on the hard tyre, and yeah, just sneak it on the inside, get it turned in to the second part. If you park it on the chicane there, then there's nothing they can do, and that's quite a good move. Quite happy with that one. Right, we've got the Italian ahead in our sights again. We thought we might be able to pass him around this time. The last lap we couldn't, but if we get a good exit from the second Les mode, we'll just be reeling him in with the slipstream. And either parabolic or a turn one next lap will be a good place for us to overtake. So let's see here if we can start reeling him in. And the Frenchman behind us has a penalty. A lot of drivers here picking up penalties, I noticed. I think people are just going in too hot to the chicanes. And at Monza especially, but also most other tracks where you have chicanes, often slow and fast out really is the way to go. So I'm playing it quite safe here with the track limits. Normally in qualifying, if I actually did the qualifying properly, I'd be really abusing the track limits, but not in the race. It's just not worth the penalty. Also really frustrating if you do quite well to kind of eke out half a second from the car behind you and you give it all away because you were a little bit too greedy with track limits. So right, going into the home straight again here after Parabolica, as we all light up the brake lights in synchronization there. Italian goes a little bit deep, so that's going to hurt him slightly as we go into turn one. And I've got a good slipstream here, so we should be alongside by the time we get into turn one. Again, on the hard tyre, I think it's quite a good strategy to start on the harder compound if you know you're likely to be in the slipstream of cars ahead of you. You can just chill out in that slipstream, you can actually brake a little bit earlier, don't risk it because you're going to make that time back on the next straight. So, braking at the 150 metre board, coming in here pretty neatly. We're not going to make contact with the Italian driver this time. It's been a little bit messy for the last couple of times, and the Spaniard picks up a 1 second penalty, so he's been a little bit greedy there going over the curbs. We're really close now to the Italian. I do like overtaking going into the second chicane as we did on the previous lap if we can get anywhere near alongside. So let's see what happens here. Pull out the slipstream, going to try and go for it I think, but he tries to hang in there and it's going to be pretty tight. It's going to be too close for two cars, and ooh, so there was contact there and he kind of span out. Not maybe it was my fault, I don't know. Didn't pick up a penalty, but probably I should have backed out a little bit more of that one, so my bad. Apologies to the Italian driver, and as kind of payback I've got a German on my tail as well, so let's see if we can escape from the German driver and the Italian. He might be seeking some kind of retribution, you never know. But more importantly, the Spaniard ahead, number 1 ranked driver in this race, now number 18, so he can pick up some good DR points if we finish ahead of this guy. I'd have to slow down for the penalty. Are we going to get past him here going into Ascari? He comes back at me and we go side by side for the first bit, but then I managed to get ahead for the middle part of Ascari and we're up into 4th place. So there was a pretty dicey move there at the second chicane. Put my hands up and say that was a little bit rough, but that's also racing and we got ahead. So we're going to zoom forward now a couple of laps. Spaniard driver now has caught up significantly and I make a bit of a mess of Ascari. So going too hot for the first part and it's going to compromise me massively coming out as we go down into Parabolica, and he's probably going to be alongside. Now I'm not going to fight this too much, rarely do, because as I say, we'll be able to get in the slipstream going into turn 1 and that might be a better overtaking opportunity. So just pull over here a little bit. He dabs the brakes I think again, so I give him a little touch. Last thing we want to do is fall into the clutches of the drivers behind, and this is an interesting point about these kind of longer races. It's a 15 lap race at Monza, almost a 2-minute lap, so we're talking a 30-minute race here, half an hour race, quite a long race by GT Sports online standards. So picking and making alliances on the fly can be really helpful. We're going to see an example here as I don't push the Spanish driver here, I just basically back out of this and say go on, turn in there. You can take the position here or keep the position, because if we fight we're just going to lose time, fall into the clutches of this French driver behind. And actually turn 1 at Monza is one of the worst places where you lose time if you're fighting, I've noticed. Right, so we're now behind the Spanish driver. We kind of gave him an easy ride going into turn 1, but are we going to be so easy going into the second chicane? I don't think so. I think the overspeed is just too great. So we'll try and do a clean move here. And yeah, the Spanish driver this time basically kind of backs out. So I get a nice clean run through the second chicane, and he's now going to be alongside here. Again, don't want to lose too much time, so I'm going to back out a little bit here. Just let him get through nice and cleanly, and I'm going to be in the slipstream here. So this is good working together. You can see the French driver is just dropping slightly behind. We're going to follow the Spanish driver up the back straight here into Ascari, and you can see we're getting ahead of the French driver. in the slipstream, chilling out here. Probably not going to do a crazy move going into Ascari. Let's see. Just kind of staying behind him, almost to let him know that, look, I'm not going to do a move here. Don't stress about it. Let's just get a good line through these corners. And yeah, on the power very early here. And stretching out that gap to the French driver to over 3 seconds now. And we'll zoom through this next bit to the gap to the Spanish driver getting a little bit closer. But essentially, I'm not going to do a crazy move. I don't think he's going to do a crazy move. We're just trying to work as a pair to get around the track as quick as possible. So the Belgian driver comes out of the pits, and to his absolute credit, he does the best thing, which is to stay in one place and not weave about, so we could both go one way, either side of him. So that was absolutely fantastic driving by the Belgian driver there, and he'll be able to hang on to our coattails. He is a pit stop ahead of us, so he is miles ahead of us at the moment. You can see he's got the fastest lap at the moment. We're zooming ahead here again. You can see not doing anything crazy with the Spanish driver, just following him. I think the Belgian driver is a bit faster than us, so he's probably going to overtake us at some point. And about time to pit as well, so I think I was planning to pit on this lap because my tyres were getting a little bit rope in the hard tyre. I heard rumours that you can do a no stop at this race, but I hadn't done any kind of practice, so I didn't want to risk it. And yet we're both going to dip into the pits at this point, and essentially we'll both just be swapping tyres, so putting the opposite tyre on. No need for fuel. The Lamborghini tank plenty big enough for this race. It's the pit stop boys doing a stellar job here and going to teleport us to the end of the pit lane for good measure as well. So as we were with the Spaniard ahead, and we'll be miles ahead of 20th place by now where we started, because there'll have been absolute shenanigans going on behind us all through the race. As another Spaniard goes past, perhaps going deep on his tyres or doing a no stop, but there's 3 of us now. Hopefully we can work as a team or just shred the alliance and go for each other. So let's see what happens here as we go into second chicane. One of my favourite places to overtake. We're quite close to the F1 1972 Spaniard, so we might be able to stab him in the back and just make a move here and start using the slipstream or the other Spaniard we have available now. So let's see what's going to happen here. I'm going to kind of overtake and maybe brake a little bit early. Don't really want to be making contact here, and there's a few touches. It's a little bit messy. Give him a little bit bump on the exit there, and you can see the Frenchman behind us is caught up. So that was a little bit messy on my part. I do like braking late into that chicane, and then I think it maybe catches people by surprise there, or maybe I should be going a little bit more shallow to give a bit more space on the outside. So we're going to zoom through these next bits here, catching up with this Spaniard. Are we going to make a move on the inside of Parabolica? No, just brake a little bit early, try and get the move done at turn 1 instead. He doesn't get a great exit here. The Frenchman behind us getting really close now. Not really a fan of him kind of catching up with us. Let's see, we go 2 by 2 down the home straight, very close to the slipstream of the Spaniard ahead, but just outside of that range. You can see here as the black Huracan going into turn 1, we've got the inside line, which I think is the best line through turn 1, although some people actually prefer to go around the outside of turn 1, as the Spaniard does here. So he makes a nice move around the outside. We try and follow him through, but get a little bit of wheel spin there on the medium tyre, so not the best turn 1 for us there, and the Frenchman is right behind us. We're definitely going to be coming under pressure now, so that wasn't great on our part. Too far away at second chicane. Just going to follow the Spaniard through here, try and get a good exit, and we hit the curbs nicely. Quite close to the Spaniard now. Maybe that'll be a good move into Ascari as he picks up a penalty. So he must have taken a slight shortcut there. I didn't really see it. Let's look at the replay. Let's slow it right down. And that by millimetres he might have cut that first part of the chicane. That is really harsh. But that is going to cost him at least my position, and the Frenchman's way behind, so it might not cost him the other position. That's great for me because they're now going to fight going into Ascari, and we can just concentrate trying to get on the coattails of this Spaniard in the green livery here, who we thought may not have stopped, might be on a no-stopper or trying to go very deep. Doesn't pit again, so let's just assume that, we've got to pass him on track. Going to turn 1 here, nice and easy, not making up too much time, but not throwing it all away either. Second chicane is somewhere where we normally have a good exit, can make up more time there, and yet that gap is dropping down now, so it's going to be less than a second. Look how we just reel him in, going down the back straight here. Now we're nicely in the slipstream, trying to get a good exit from Ascari. Yep, that's not too bad either. So in the space of a lap, we've kind of reeled in about a second. Those are the margins in these types of races, FIA races. In the splits I'm racing, it can be very close margins. You can see the Spaniard behind us, he's lost the position, so that penalty really was a disaster for him. Now, 4 tenths away from the Spaniard ahead. Really like that livery, very cool livery with the Spanish kind of flag going across the car there. But more importantly, let's see if we can overtake him going into turn 1. He goes very defensive, so we'll brake around the outside, and we're not going to be able to overtake him, but we should be very close going into the second chicane. And I've had a really good kind of sense of momentum in this race, sense of progression, and sometimes that can happen if you start low down the grid. So starting from 20th, in 5th now, trying to get 4th, feeling pretty good, feeling pretty overtake happy. Whereas if I started on pole and I was back in 5th place, I might be a bit more negative and thinking, oh my gosh, I might lose another position. So interesting how mentality works there. As we take it nice and easy through this second chicane here, I've been a bit messy the last couple of times. So just not trying to rush anything here. Looks like there's a gaggle of cars behind. And just look at the replay here, how close he was to cutting the corners, just millimetres. The other Spaniard got a penalty, this guy didn't. Those are the margins at this level. We're really close now going through the second Lesmo. We get quite a good exit here. So is he going to go defensive? Yes, he is, obviously. That's the best thing to do. And we don't quite get around him at Ascari. So lap 12, going to be heading into lap 13. Not doing anything silly around Parabolica either. It's all going to happen, I think, going into turn 1. So let's go back to normal speed here. Feels like we come out of hyperspace into our Lamborghini Huracans. So going to have to go round the outside here. Not my favourite way to do it at turn 1, but we saw the other Spaniard do it to me recently. We're going to have a look at the overhead view here. The track looks really wide from this angle, but when you're on the track at ground level, it looks really shallow. And there's just a bit of contact there, and he ended up on the gravel. Let's have a look at that on the replay. You can see he was just alongside him, trying to turn in pretty much on max lock. So again, a little bit of a racing incident, but I kind of came out on top. That's racing, I think. Going through the second chicane now. He's going to have the benefit of slipstream now until the end of the race. So can we keep it ahead? I just saw third place car go around the next corner, but he is 10 seconds ahead. So I don't think we're going to catch up with him because he's already done his pit stop. He must have been quite quick or had a good strategy. So interesting to see what he did. Have a look at that later on. Right, going through Ascari now, and the Spaniard is right on my tail. Is he going to make a move going around Parabolica? No, because we went very defensive, but he manages to switch back. So again, he's going to have the inside line as we go into turn 1. And again, I'm going to have to go round the outside, which isn't my favourite way of doing it. You can see it looks like 4th and 3rd place. Oh, that was 3rd and 2nd, really close there. So maybe they'll have a crash, pick up some points, don't know. Right, around the outside here. Again, just about getting it done. Really fair play to the Spaniard. We're not making any contact, really clean racing. Only 2 laps to go. But this is going to be very difficult to keep 4th place. I would really like to keep 4th place and just pick up some pretty handy Nations points here. Going to the second Lesmo, get quite a good exit, a better exit than the Spaniard, but he's going to reel me in with the virtue of the slipstream as we come into Parabolica for the penultimate time, about to start the last lap now, and he is really close. I go very defensive this time, very narrow. This time I want to be going around the inside when it comes to turn 1. I know it worked for me the last couple of times going around the outside, but to me, it just in terms of percentages, it's just safer going around the inside. So I'm going to stick to the inside here. Not weaving, just picking my line, letting him know, look, I'm going to be the inside here. If you want to go around the outside, fair enough. Give it a shot, mate. So let's see what happens. He's alongside, and we brake at the same time as they're going through side by side. And this is why I like the inside line at turn 1. You can see here, I just end up in the middle of the track and basically block the car behind. So that's my preferred way through to turn 1. Kind of end up on that inside curb, and if you get there ahead of the car behind you, he's got nowhere to go. So we're going to zoom forward now because he's not going to have a chance through the second chicane or either of the Lesmos, but he might have a run down into Ascari. Let's have a look. And no, not really. Doesn't get the best exit out of the second Lesmo. Now going through Ascari, and I get quite a good exit, and he doesn't. So only Parabolica to worry about now, but I take it very easy, very defensive. Happy to kind of sacrifice time here for track position. So he won't be able to go on the inside. He'll have to go the long way around. And he's too far away. So we're going to finish this race in 4th place, up from starting in 20th. So very good result. And you can see here, I'm the only driver not to have picked up a penalty. So despite what Key 25 says, I'm a clean driver, or at least in this race, or at least I didn't get any penalties in this race. So picking up some decent points there for Team GB. And you can just see in the chat some good stuff between myself and the Spanish drivers, some great racing, just letting each other know. So yeah, that was FIA race at Monza, Nations Cup, really good combination for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.